Hey guys, this is PrimEval back with part 6 of our game as Russia with no quitters. We are down to 3 opponents, the Japanese, who were acting as a buffer between ourselves and the much more powerful Iroquois. We've been gifting them units, so that's why our military strength has been going down. We also will need to switch over to producing units after we get this observatory up in our capital. Let's go and queue up a crossbowman now. As far as the demographics go, we are 2 techs above the average and 4 techs above the Iroquois. We have the highest population, which puts us in good shape in terms of generating a lot of science, but we're behind on all of the other metrics, including manufactured goods, where we have half of what the leader does. So that's not terrific. Once we get all of our universities online, we'll have to go and pump units non-stop. Anyways, despite those election shenanigans, we did go and fulfill a quest from Milan, and so now we are allies with them, and that gives us furs, which triggers a We Love the King Day in our capital, which is exactly where we want the We Love the King Day. So let's move our scout archer to the front line, upgrading him as we go. And start getting our trade routes to our 2 rear cities ready as well. 1, 2, 3. I guess without settling a 5th city, we'll eventually go and grab that sugar at Rostov. Novogorod, we could chop this forest to hurry that university up, but it is only 3 turns away, so let's get a little production there. So tech-wise, we're 10 turns away from unlocking chemistry, which will enhance all of our mines. And so that'll help us in terms of getting our production up, but more importantly, we need to get ourselves over to artillery. So let's go hit fertilizer since we have a bunch of farms that'll help us grow, and then over to our unique unit at military science, and then to dynamite. At Novogorod, we'll also want to queue up a workboat to finally go and improve the crab. And over at Rostov, we'll switch that guy over to pumping military units. Alright, all of this looks more or less okay. We don't want to get involved in any hostilities with the Iroquois until we get some more superior military units online. So I'm happy to let Japan tank all this damage for us. That looks good. How much does a Kripos cost? 300? Guess we won't be buying that in Moscow. Now, if we were Austria, we can go and diplo-marry Singapore, and that would net us a lot of nice units here. But as it is, we just have a city-state with a lot of units in the rear where they can't really help us. Milan has a few units, but we won't be their allies for too much longer. Just another 5 turns. Let's go and queue up a military unit over at Rostov. I think we'll want ourselves Let's grab a horseman. We can upgrade him later. Actually, chivalry is somewhere on our upgrade path, but it won't be for many turns. So let's cancel that horse and we'll do something else instead. So by the time that university is finished, we'll have gunpowder and Rostov can work on a musketman. We just got ourselves a great person. We might want to go and expend that now. That'll get us chemistry sooner and get us a huge boost to production. So I think I'll go and save it for one turn and pop it next turn. So now that we're spreading our religion, we have 9 gold from that, which isn't as huge as it could be. Alright, so after these 2 crossbowmen, we've got more crossbowmen queued up. I think I'll actually want to go and slap a creep post in front of that. That'll help us expand our borders faster for more Great Wall goodness, and we'll also get some more experience on our crossbows. So here we might want to take the opportunity to first strike the Iroquois, and the Iroquois should know by this point that we are the bigger threat, since we do have the tech lead. And we're also second in terms of the score. However, I'm hoping he'll want to go and finish off a few more Japanese cities, and that'll buy us some time to build some more units. And so I don't want to encourage him to turn his army on us. Alright, so we just finished 2 of our universities. We'll want to go and employ some people there. As well as lock down some food tiles. Likewise with Rostov, I didn't realize we were working those workshops. I certainly didn't intend for that. And here, I think we're going to want, could build a watermill, and we will build a watermill. So here, let's grab ourselves an open terrain bonus and run back here. Upgrade to a pikeman. And let's go and pop this great scientist. And that should up all of these mines very nicely. And we can also go and refresh our influence with Singapore with the last use of this great prophet. So that timed out really nicely as well. We have a new spy, or a spy stole something from us. Alright, the appearance of these Iroquois crossbows definitely isn't making us feel good. They could just be trying to get better surface area on Japan here. So it might indeed be time to enter this war. No, I think Japan's got it covered. We can let them fight this war for as long as possible before we enter it ourselves. So after the watermill, I think we have time for a creep post, and that'll help us go and grab the sugar sooner, but also then we'll switch over to generating military units. Alright, so we just got another trade route online, and that pushes our gold per turn up a little more. Finishing chemistry also pushed up our manufactured goods, we're now in second place and no longer half the production of the leader. These people want marble. Singapore is getting close to not being allies with us anymore. Grab that road. But once we spread religion, so long as these units move out of the way, we can convert Singapore, and that'll get us a bunch of influence as well. So we want to go and build this road. Alright, all of this looks good. We have our creep post, and we have all of our university slots filled. We're pumping 191 signs per turn now, and our next social policy is in 6 turns. So overall, so long as Japan and the Iroquois don't start to cooperate, or the Iroquois don't suddenly get a bunch of units out of nowhere, I think, given our tech lead, we are in very good shape to take this game. So we're losing grasp on Milan, and we already lost Singapore, or we're about to lose Singapore as an ally. Hopefully their units will move out of the way so we can spread Tangrism to them before we lose all of the happiness that they're providing us. There's another crossbowman online. And let's go farm up some tiles here. The Japanese are having an easy time stealing techs from us. Let's go and purchase another pagoda, but I think, it's 200 faith now. That would be better spent on a great scientist, so we just got 1 pagoda out of the deal. Let's go and make sure we're working good tiles here. Stone, 2 food for hammers, cattle, some nice farms which will be improved by fertilizer. Everything else looks fine. This also looks quite good, and this looks good as well. Our workboat will be done in 3 turns, and then we'll get the crab online. After the crossbow, we do have time to squeeze out an ironworks. And it looks like the Iroquois are now scouting our lands, testing our weakness. But in terms of military might, he is a lot stronger than us, but we will be able to deal with him, I think. We might want to start pulling back some of these crossbows, though, so that we can use the Great Wall to our advantage. Alright, so if we start seeing more Iroquois units, then we will open fire with our crossbows, but for now, it looks like Japan's got it covered. Tier, pledge to protect, find on map, way over here, and Cahokia, find on map, way up there. Okay, so we've got another crossbow. We'll put this one on rough terrain. Singapore wants Tangrism, but their units will have to move out of the way first. I'm not sure if you can spread religion from the water. I guess we'll find out next turn. Everything else looks fine. So as we wait for the turn to change over, let's take a look at our great people. We have a great engineer coming in Moscow in 10 turns, whereas our next great scientist is in 20 from St. Petersburg, and that will increase slightly once we pop a great engineer. So that great engineer actually comes at a decent time. We could use him to pop the Leaning Tower of Pisa, get another great engineer, and use him to go and pop Brandenburg Gate. So we'll see how that times out. Meanwhile, it looks like Japan is starting to gain an upper hand here at Omi. I assume they're heading this way to go and kill this Iroquois knight and not to bring their units over to cause trouble with us. Demographics wise, all of our military might values are getting a lot closer to each other, so I'm having progressively less to worry about in terms of being invaded. Alright, so we're no longer an ally of Singapore, but we're still happy, only just barely. We've met another city-state, it's way over here. I guess they were sending out ships. We can go and pledge to protect them. And keep these guys on alert. Let's go grab farm, and can we spread religion from the water? Yes, we can. Although, that might not have been enough to fully convert them. Yeah, they're just at 5, we need one more, but with 18 pressure, they should flip soon enough, and we'll get our happiness online. In the meantime, we'll have the crab to fill that void. So everything is looking great. Here we'll go and grab ourselves an armory as well. Meanwhile, I think we have enough comfort to squeeze in an observatory. With all of these Iroquois units here, we might want to open fire soon. Well, we'll see what we can get away with. One, two, three. Alright, so we just entered the industrial, I do believe. There is another crosswoman online for us. Here is our workboat to go and improve the crab. And Tengrism spread to Singapore, so we got a bunch of happiness from that as well. Now we got a new spy, industrial era, and fertilizer. Alright, so up next, let's grab ourselves a market. And we'll also want a market here as well. Alright, so all of that looks fine. I'm not sure if I should be first striking the Iroquois here. We would get 1, 2, that's not a hill, so that doesn't work. I guess we can let them fight each other. If we go to war with the Iroquois, then the Iroquois would be tempted to make peace with Japan, but as it is right now, they're spending a lot of resources on replacing units that they're losing to each other. So we'll just hang back here with our long chain of crossbowmen. So we also need to decide where to put this spy. I guess we could drop him in Milan here, since we're close to being friends with them, or allies rather. And of course, extra culture. Means shooting through rationalism a little faster. So 2 turns until we unlock the next policy, and then we'll really start pumping science. So unless the Iroquois and Japan do make peace, we really do, as Virus says, have this game. It was all about building up and getting our infrastructure going, and trying not to start any needless wars, and that was pretty easy since China was in the middle and was everyone's target for a while. So we have enough to go and buy a great scientist here, I think. A great scientist will actually cost us 670, so not quite. But I would rather have the great scientists than a pagoda. So we'll continue to save up on faith here. After the armory, we will want some military units. A forge would speed that up, but so as not to be too greedy, we should probably go and build a quick knight. Or at least put a turn into a knight and then switch that back over to a forge. The forge will get us 1 extra hammer off of the iron, but it would also give us the 15% production boost, which 15% of 66.3 is quite sizable. Alright, so we can now adopt secularism, and that'll give us a huge boost to our science, a good 31 science by the looks of it. Let's go and improve these forest tiles, and we can probably go and improve the tiles by Rostov as well. We do want to grow quickly for science purposes, so let's go and lock down those food tiles. Everything looks just fine. Here we can go and add ourselves a forge to the queue. So if we do use our great engineer to build the Tower of Pisa and then use that to grab another great engineer, that's 2 more great people that will delay our other great scientists. But since we are a decent amount of techs ahead of everyone else, getting the great scientists early isn't actually so important. So we're hitting printing press next, then we're hitting military science over to dynamite. We don't need to change that up, since this is now essentially a 2-player game. We don't want to diverge away too much from the key military techs, and that would be artillery from dynamite. Okay. So here we are, continuing to improve these tiles. this worker can actually go and put a pasture on the sheep tile and put some mines on these hills, since our capital is going to need that. We also have time to squeeze out an Alhambra. Looks like we won't actually need a great engineer for that at all. But just to be safe, let's go and grab one knight here before we do anything silly like build some more wonders. So the Iroquois are a good 23 odd thousand soldier points ahead of us. But they're still preoccupied with Japan, and our row of crossbows could cause a lot of trouble for them. So we're not too worried. We're going to get an observatory up in St. Petersburg in 4 turns, and we're working a bunch of nice 4 food tiles, so we're growing nicely as well. We probably do need to get some happiness buildings online now, since we're hitting our happiness limit. We can also go and spend a lot of this gold reserve and befriend one of the many mercantile city-states that have sent ships out to meet us. So Singapore gives us jewelry, Makarat gives us porcelain, as does Tyre or Tyre, and Cahokia gives us jewelry, which we already have. So we have the options of these guys, which are already allied with Japan, and Japan could easily go and kill, or Tyre, which is actually currently looking for gold, and is actually in a much safer, well, it's not that much safer, but at least, alright, so here or here, which is safer, I actually couldn't say. Anyways, if we do run into some happiness issues, we can go and throw some money at one of those mercantile city-states. So that was a knight. Let's go and grab ourselves the Alhambra. Yeah, we can grab an Alhambra. That'll get us a free castle in case an army does make it to Moscow. It'll increase our culture output, which would help push us through rationalism a little faster. And when we are training ground units, having that rough terrain promotion will be quite nice. Okay, so here it looks like the Iroquois are starting to gain the upper hand on the Japanese, in which case we might want to go and advance our units slightly, and perhaps now would be the time to enter the fray. Yep. So I don't really know what to say to that virus. I gotta do something with this war. And Japan is technically my ally, so with his city falling, I think I might intervene now to help balance things out. So maybe we'll go and try to intervene here. We can go and take down some of these units. Alright, so we're going to see if people will concede. We're in a pretty good position here. We are 3 techs away from dynamite, so that's dynamite in 13 turns. And we're pumping 244 psi per turn, but we will go and pump that science per turn up a little more once we finish this observatory. So after that, we can go and grab ourselves a cannon. So here, it looks like the Iroquois really want to take Omi. And it looks like Virus couldn't trust Japan to cooperate, so he'd rather try to kill Japan before coming for me as Russia. So had they cooperated, I would have been in for quite a fight, because combined, they probably had 3 times my military. And yeah, Japan would definitely have let the Iroquois probably take down a lot of my units and one of my cities before intervening and attacking the Iroquois from the rear, cutting off their reinforcements, maybe hitting some of their cities. Anyways, so these guys are discussing, I guess, whose fault it is that Russia is in such a strong position, and they have not yet conceded the game. So here we are. We can go and advance our troops. So there, Japan just made peace with the Iroquois, so we're in a bit of an awkward position here now. Military-wise, we are just a little bit behind the Iroquois, so I don't know if we should retreat and use our Great Wall, or just keep these guys lined up here. Alright, so we're in for a good fight now. We'll train a cannon so we can upgrade him to artillery when the time comes. Otherwise, everything looks like it's in order. we'll also want to go and grab ourselves a Lancer in our more distant cities. They've got a few cavalry, or knights, so the Lancers will make short work of them. Anyways, I guess we could have stayed back and been quiet for a little while longer, but things were getting a little boring. So we push forward. Ooh, that's a funky looking fort. And now we're going to have to deal with the Iroquois, but they're only a good 8,000 soldier points ahead of us. So we'll go and add a Lancer here as well. And Lasha just declared war on me. We can go and deal a bunch of damage. And advance our crossbows. This is a good spot for them. Meanwhile, this worker is looking for tiles to improve. And we got that great engineer that we didn't really want, but there's nothing we could do about that. So this great engineer, I guess we can save him for Brandenburg Gate. And after the Alhambra, let's go and grab ourselves a Lancer. So we'll pause the video here, and I'll see you in part 7.